My husband fights with strangers a lot when he's with me. He doesn't admit he's violent. I'm scared. First of all, my native language isn't English, so bear with me. My husband is always ready to fight with random strangers and I am scared. Every case below was when he was with me in a bar. He smacked a random guy because the guy touched my husband's shoulder to get out of the crowded bar. He parked in a zone for firefighters' trucks. I don't know how to describe it, so a stranger said to my husband that you're disgusting. My husband and that guy fought in the middle of the road and I was frozen. At that time I thought that was my husband's fault, but I didn't say like that because I was afraid of him. We live in Manhattan, so there are always so many rude people on every street. My husband don't know how to ignore them, and if he has a chance he is trying to fight back or at least yell at them. I realize that reaction is dangerous since I don't know if they have weapons or they are drunk, but my husband told me that he needs to fight. It happens a lot. If random street workers looked at me, my husband said to them, "You good? You good?" If a black guy told my husband, "You look like Jackie Chan," my husband told him back like, "You look like," a random black comedian name, but I don't remember it. In these situations the tension is about to be blown up and I just stand next to him speechless. If the pedestrian way is so crowded and people walking in front of us do not make a room for us to pass, he intentionally and suddenly stops in the middle of the way to block the way and make them bump into him. I don't know how to describe it, but my husband spends his energy and doesn't want to make a way in Central Park and Times Square, bumping into everyone's shoulders. I told him so many times about his anger issue and his excuses are like that. I don't hit you and I never hit women before. I'm not violent but doing for justice. People make me pissed off. You make me pissed off since you criticize my personality. New York City makes me crazy. But he did the same thing and has had same issues when he was living out of the city. I don't know what to do, but if his issues are serious and unchangeable, I'll go back to my home country. That means I have no friends and family members in the States who can help me if something happens. I think I am becoming a victim of domestic violence because when I go out with him I feel anxious and fearsome about random rages between my husband and someone, but my husband said I'm overreacting and he's okay. Except his rages and severe tantrums, he loves me a lot and almost perfect. Comment. This man is a ticking time bomb. This kind of aggression is extremely dangerous and not normal. You deserve to feel safe and trusting with your partner, not constantly on edge because of his erratic violent tendencies. What's worse is that you've made it known that you don't appreciate his behavior and he's continued regardless. Either he cannot control his rage or he simply has zero respect for your feelings. Possibly both. Again, this is not normal and you deserve better. Please do not raise children with this man. Another you see it, you absolutely must get a divorce and do so secretly and be gone and away from your marital home long before your husband realizes it. Talk to a lawyer tomorrow. Make sure you keep all your plans secret from your violent husband. Good luck and please update us. Your husband's behavior is totally unacceptable. You're correct. My BF is a huge dude, 6 feet 4 inches, over 250 pounds. Big guy. I have never seen him get even a little violent, and I therefore feel nothing but safe with him. Sure, if someone else throws the first punch at him, or someone is hurting me or another friend in the group, he'll step in and stop the issue. But he never gets violent for no reason, or even if he thinks there is a reason. Men who act the way your husband does are incredibly dangerous. I hope you can get away safely. He isn't interested in changing. In fact, he blamed everyone else for his anger issues. This is not a safe person up. It will be dangerous to leave. Make an exit plan. You can talk with local women's shelters and they can help you. Do not tell him you are leaving. It's the most dangerous time for you. Till you can leave. If he has a violent outburst in public, keep walking to your destination. If you didn't have one, just pick something and text that you don't feel safe when he is violent in public. Or that you thought he was behind you. Just whatever you need to say to keep yourself safe. You are correct, you don't know what the other person has. He is putting you both at risk with his behavior. Hello. Fellow New Yorker and person who works in Times Square, your husband's behavior is fucking crazy. I see some of the worst and most confrontational people every day in Times Square and he easily sounds like he ranks up there. He's gonna get himself or both of y'all in serious trouble whether he pisses off the wrong person who is armed or gets in trouble with the law. Either way, do not stick around and let this man drag you down with him. You're right to worry about it. I am very much someone who likes to say New York is way safer than it is portrayed, but my two big caveats are mind your business and don't start no shit won't be no shit. It sounds like your husband is definitely starting shit. I'm also not one to comment on people's relationships, but this is a serious red flag. Contact a domestic violence shelter or hotline for info on how to plan a safe escape from this ticking time bomb. Even though he has not hit you, the stats I've seen show the most dangerous time is when you're leaving, because he sees you slipping out of his control. These comments are so disgusting. Your husband is putting you in danger. He may not put a hand on you, but you do not know what wackos will attack a woman just because she's with her petulant husband causing scenes. By fighting people in front of you, he's opening you up to collateral damage. He has a serious mental health problem. This will not get better on its own. Normal people do not have these issues with getting in strangers' faces for being mildly inconvenienced. I was in a relationship with a guy who had intermittent explosive disorder. Sounds very similar. It was exhausting having to constantly talk him down off a ledge. It was never directed at me, but it ended up costing him his job and he spiraled after that. This guy's a ticking time bomb. Story 2. My wife insists on hanging out with a male friend who makes me uncomfortable. To provide some context, I met my wife Sue through mutual friends. We were living in different states at the time, and after we began dating, she eventually moved to the West Coast where I live, and we got married. Sue had a significant sense of loss moving to a new state and having to start over in a new city. Over the past 11 years, and 2 amazing kids, I've been supportive of her visiting her parents and hanging out with her old friends in Illinois. One particular male friend from Illinois, John, Sue was close with before we got married. Sue goes out to dinner with him and other friends when she visits Illinois, and often John will pick her up from her parents' house so she can have a few drinks, while her mother watches the kids. John has a history of infidelity with multiple women, and he openly shares these affairs and details with my wife. Several years ago, 6 years into our marriage, Sue started flying back to Illinois every year to throw John a birthday party, even though John's wife doesn't attend, as she prefers to stay home with their daughter. Fast forward to a couple of years ago. Sue went to Illinois to throw John a birthday party, while I stayed home with the kids. At that time, John was having an affair with an attractive, younger assistant at the body shop he owns. This assistant would send explicit pictures of herself in lingerie to John, which he shared with my wife. During the party, Sue called me late at night, drunk, and asked if she could go to a strip club with the group. I, trying to be a cool husband, said, "Have fun." John drove Sue and his assistant, he is having the affair with, to the strip club. On the way back, while John was driving, my wife and the assistant engaged in intimate activities in the back seat of his car. Sue felt guilty, called me crying, begged for forgiveness, and flew home the next day. I knew my wife is bisexual, so that part didn't surprise me, and we worked through it. However, Sue continued her friendship with John, which has been a constant source of discomfort for me. Sue believes that her actions that night were not John's fault and that they shouldn't affect their friendship, arguing that I'm being controlling. Fast forward to the present. Our marriage is strained, and I flew home to visit my parents in Arizona. Sue took the kids to Illinois to visit her parents. 2 days ago, Sue informed me that she was going out to lunch with John, which is a sensitive topic for us. She also had dinner with John and some other friends last night. Our calls have been tense for the past couple of days. Just to clarify, I'm fine with both of us having friends of the opposite sex, but I'm very uncomfortable with her relationship with John given the history. Even though I've told Sue I don't want her hanging out with John, honestly I don't want her even talking to the guy, Sue is insistent on maintaining her 20-year friendship. Am I in the wrong? Should I be supportive of her seeing John once or twice a year? What level of contact would be appropriate for them? Comment. I think you haven't even scratched the surface on what your wife and John have been up to. However, the fact that she puts her friendship with him above your concerns is really all you need to know. I'd see a lawyer and figure out where you stand. You're going to need it. She hooked up with the assistant in front of John for a reason. And I hope you don't think it ended with just his assistant. Get a lawyer because this will continue. Since when does a cheater that wants reconciliation get to set the boundaries? You setting a boundary with one man is not controlling. You setting a boundary of no male friends. That would be controlling. Sue has allowed this relationship to cause problems in your marriage and has put him before you. After the incident with his assistant I would worry what they had been up to. It's a lot harder to be walked on when you are standing up. At the end of the day, look at their dynamic. She is an enabler to an objectively shit person. She has known all along, she partakes and indulges and goads him on. Your wife is happy to help him hurt people, and on that one night actively indulged in it herself by cheating with his affair partner. Even pretending he didn't urge it on. The reality is she clearly does not have a healthy moral compass, so is it so shocking she doesn't see what she did and what she does with him a problem? It was never appropriate. He isn't an appropriate person. But either is she. I am kind of shocked you seem so casual about it. Fair enough, I don't disagree with that approach per se, though I think in this case your own frustration at her attitudes towards his cheating are fair to present. Though I will say, in the end you did still condone it for multiple years, and it seems to me the real issue is you fear cheating while you previously condoned him and her being shit people. In the end I would put emphasis on how he is not a good person and that the bad choice she made was around him. He is conducive to those bad choices and she has to decide if she thinks cheating is okay or not. I think you know it's time to move on from this woman. She is not faithful by her own admission. She will not be faithful and will continue to step out with John. She married you for stability but likes to fuck and pleasure him, even having sex with another woman in front of him to do it. DNA test those kids and move on. From the title I was ready to be on her side, but nah, you're being completely reasonable here. She's the one who cheated, so she should know new boundaries will be set. Absolutely no idea how she thinks she can cheat and continue to do whatever she wants as if she's entitled to your forgiveness. Show her this post and what we all think of her friendship. Which is not much. I'd be telling her that she is the company she keeps. Which is cheaters. I mean, is she friends with his wife as well? How does she justify keeping his cheating from her? Because she's involved. She was getting freaky in the backseat with his other affair partner. You think he hasn't got in on that?